Welcome to Exam 3 review. And in this review session, or in Exam 3, it seems pretty straightforward because, we have the cardiovascular system, which includes blood, heart, respiratory, and then we have the respiratory and then the digestive. Kind of so the overall, there's 3 units. It seems like not a lot compared to the other unit exams that you've had, but cardiovascular does include 3 chapters: blood, heart, and blood vessels. And then the respiratory and digestive are very detailed. So you want to make sure that, you are exposed to it, repeat it, go through it repeatedly, and give yourself time to kind of remember it, memorize it, and then understand it. So go from memorization to understanding to a more deeper comprehension, because you have different levels of questions on the exam. You have some where I just ask definitions, but there are some that you have to apply and some that you have to really synthesize between two contents or two topics. Okay? All right. So let's go through the logistics. Same thing as exam 1 and 2. There are 50 questions. 40 are multiple choice. 10 are fill in the blank. You have 15 minutes to take the exam. If you qualify for extended test taking time, make sure that it should already be, if you look up that the third exam, it should say how much time you have on it. So it should already say in there. If you notice that it doesn't, please contact me right away, because sometimes the system reverts back. So if that's the case, then I'll just go in and enter it again. Okay. Any questions about the lecture exam?
No.
Okay. Then for the lab exam, 30 questions. And the 30 questions are going to be on the model images. Okay, spelling counts. And make sure that all terms are included. Okay, which means right and lefts. So if there's a pair of something, right and left. If it's a blood vessel, make sure you indicate whether it's an artery or a vein, so the full name. So pay attention to the full name. Okay, what else? Spell and counts, model, and you have 45 minutes to take it. And I think that's pretty much it for the lab exam. Any questions on the logistics for the lab exam?
This is kind of a dumb question, but so say if you're looking at the lungs, would you say right lobe of lung? Like, would you actually put of lung or of liver, or just leave that out because it's obvious?
And you actually want to say of lung, of liver, because sometimes
Okay.
when students are answering it, they put in the
Mhm.
wrong organ, and I have to take out the points for it because they don't know they may know the structure itself, but not really understand that it's a part of a specific organ.
Okay, so like it would be caudate lobe of liver, the full thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
cool. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yep. Other questions? There's never a dumb question, by the way. Other questions? All right. So oh, I forgot. So respondus lockdown. webcam, and make sure you do the environmental scan. Okay. You know what? I did forget one thing about the lab exam. No abbreviations. I noticed that from the last exam that a few of you used abbreviations, so make sure there are no abbreviations. Unless, you know, we actually use abbreviations in the lab PDF, which oftentimes we do not. So no abbreviations. Like, for example, what is a common abbreviation that students use? Like RA, right atrium. You know, you have to make sure you write it out loud, okay? Or PCT. We haven't gotten to that because that's the urinary system, but proximal convoluted tubule, okay? So make sure you write out fully. Okay. All right. So the respondents lockdown, webcam, and make sure you do an environmental scan. And your environmental scan shouldn't be of just your face. That's a face, by the way. Make sure you're scanning around you, and more important than you, but it's your surrounding areas. Okay, and it's just to make sure that there's nothing there, you know, that we would be worried about. Okay. All right, let's get started. So for the general review, we'll start with the cardiovascular, which is the blood, heart, and blood vessels. We'll start out with blood. Can someone give me some functions of blood?
Transportation,
Yeah. What are you transporting?
gases,
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff.
And it doesn't have to be you giving me all the answers. Your classmates can chime in.
Wastes, hormones, and antibodies.
Exactly. Waste, hormones, nutrients, pretty much everything. But we want to specifically put down, you know, all the things here. So it's going to transport gases, waste, hormones, nutrients, water. Okay. What's another function?
Protection.
Yeah. How is it protective?
White blood cells are used to like fight infections.
Yeah. Perfect. Fight infection. Mm-hmm.
Platelets do clotting,
Yep.
and then antibodies and clotting for plasma proteins.
Yeah. So the antibodies, what do they do? They don't. So they don't actually
Bind
fight
to-
the infection, but what do they do?
They bind
Yeah. They
to
help
the.
you.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. No, I'm the one who's interrupting you, so I should say sorry. So you go ahead. You finish what you were saying.
I think they bind antigens that are not self cells.
Exactly. So they identify self from non-self. Perfect. Okay. What's another function?
Homeostasis, like regulation of pH and I guess also just how much fluid, like the fluid volume in your blood vessels.
Absolutely.
Is that the
And
same
Body temperature.
it can, because moving along with the water, it can also carry heat. But and oftentimes we say pH, fluid, and if it's regulating the fluid in your blood, it's actually regulating blood pressure.
Ah,
because fluid determines the pressure in your blood. Okay. So pH levels, fluid levels, and then blood pressure. Okay. All right. So let's go through the components of blood. Now, one way to determine the components of blood is to take a look at a hematocrit. What's a hematocrit?
that's when it's in the little tube, right? And they spin it around
That's
and
right.
things fall by weight,
Yes,
the components.
perfect. That's it. You got it. So just like you said, hematocrit is when you put blood into a tube and you spin it, or it's called a centrifuge. That's the machine. And it spins it. And when it spins it, exactly how you defined it. The components of blood is going to separate based on density, how heavy things are. So the heaviest thing is going to go to the bottom, and the lightest thing is going to go to the top. And it does split into 3 areas. So what's the heaviest thing in blood?
Red
Erythrocytes.
bread. Yep.
Yep. I love this. That I actually get replies this time. You make me so excited. Erythrocytes. Erythrocytes. Perfect. So red blood cells, erythrocytes. They make up how much percent of blood?
45.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent. So what makes up the bulk, the majority of blood?
Plasma.
Yes, ma'am. And plasma. Oh, actually, we'll go through components of plasma later. So that's plasma. All right. Then in the middle, a very small percent, less than 1%, would be what's called the buffy coat. And the buffy coat contains 2 things. What are they?
Leukocytes and platelets.
Yes. Wow. I know someone who's going to rock the exam. 2 people, platelets and what was the other one?
Leukocytes or white blood cells.
White blood cells.
That's right. And that makes complete sense, right? Because if you're healthy, you wouldn't want a lot of platelets and you won't need a lot of white blood cells either. You do need some, but you shouldn't need a lot if you're healthy, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's why when you go to a hospital, you're feeling sick, they take your blood and they take a look. And if they find that your white blood cells are elevated, it means that what's happening?
You have an infection.
That's exactly it. Okay, so normally you have a little bit, but you don't want it to be too high because if it's high, it's indicating that you're not healthy. All right, so that's a hematocrit. So we're going to start with red blood cells. So that's going to be our number 1 thing, red blood cells. Red blood cells are also known as erythrocytes, erythro, and then cyte meaning cell. Okay, erythro meaning blood. Now, let's go through the functions of a red blood cell first. What are some functions of red blood cells?
Transport of gases.
That's right. And what gases are we talking about?
Oxygen
Oxygen.
and carbon dioxide.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so it transports gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Exactly. What is the structure of a red blood cell? What are some terms that would describe the structure of a red blood cell? Here's a top view, here's a side view.
Discord and biconcave.
Yeah. So it looks like a disc. So it's discoid and it's biconcave. Bi meaning 2, concave meaning dips in. 1, 2. Why is it biconcave?
Well, it doesn't have a nucleus, right?
That's exactly it. So a mature red blood cell lacks a nucleus. And if it lacks a nucleus, what does that tell you about the life cycle of a red blood cell?
It's short. It can't
Yeah,
repair or multiply itself.
exactly. It has no nucleus, which means no DNA. And no DNA means no protein production, and no protein production means no repair.
Mm.
No repair. And if there's no repair, it's going to get damaged as it squeezes through the blood vessels. So that's why it has a lifespan of how many days?
120.
Yep, 120 days on average is the lifespan. And that's because it has no nucleus. Okay. In addition to not having a nucleus, it also lacks what other organelles?
Mitochondria.
Yep. And what do you need mitochondria to do?
Energy.
Energy.
Exactly. It's not that all cells need energy, so it's not that it's not making any energy necessarily, but it's going through what process? Not aerobic, but
Anaerobic.
yeah. And it makes complete sense, right? So it's going through anaerobic process to produce energy, because in order to produce energy by the use of mitochondria, it's got to use what?
Oxygen.
And if its function is to carry oxygen, it's like putting me as a driver to drive chocolate. You know, by the time I got to the store, all the chocolate would be gone, right?
Right.
So it defeats the point. So that's why it lacks mitochondria. And because it lacks mitochondria, it's got to rely on the anaerobic respiration. Questions? All right.
Nope.
Okay. So let's talk about the life cycle of a red blood cell. So a red blood cell is produced where?
Bone marrow.
Exactly. And when we think of bone marrow, oftentimes we think of what? Where the location?
In the epiphysis, maybe?
Actually,
The end of the bone. Oh, in the middle, that's right. Oh,
nope,
in
nope.
the marrow cavity. Oh.
You were right initially. So
Oh,
at the ends, that's where you have the trabecula, and that's
right.
actually where you're constant for your whole lifetime. That's where the bulk of your bone marrow will be found. You do find bone marrow in the medullary cavity,
That's what I was thinking.
but as you age, the red blood cell converts to more of a yellow. I'm sorry, not the red blood cell, the red
The
bone
marrow.
marrow. That's right. So the bone marrow converts from red to yellow. And that's kind of how you can age, a bone too, is to determine what is. Go ahead.
Is that why we get tired when we're old, like myself?
No, but that's why we gain weight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it goes from red to adipose, essentially, to yellow.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting.
Yep. Yeah, but your body will always produce the levels of the levels of red blood cells that you need to carry the oxygen and carbon dioxide.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So what stimulates the bone marrow to produce red blood cells?
He, heme? No.
Would it be the hemoglobin?
Well, in order to produce red blood cell, you do need hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is the building blocks of a red blood cell. But what stimulates the bone to produce, to assemble the hemoglobin together to make a red blood cell?
Mm. Does it have to do with meeting needs for oxygen? But I don't know.
Yes, it is. It is related to homeostasis.
Mm.
I feel like I don't know if this is right, but does it need iron?
It does need iron, so that's another component. So you mentioned hemoglobin, right? And hemoglobin requires iron. It requires the heme pigments.
Oh, erythro. Um, what is that thing that isn't erythro something
You're so close. It's like on the tip of your tongue.
like
Erythropoiesis.
That's the process.
Right, that's the process.
Yeah.
erythropoietin?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
You
wow.
did
Yeah.
so well. Yep. So in short, EPO. Okay. Yep. So erythropoietin. Okay. So it's a chemical that's produced by where? That's it. There's a T in there. Erythropoietin.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Where is EPO produced or erythropoietin produced?
The kid. I want to say kidneys or liver, but
You are correct. So the liver,
Kidneys.
yep, primary is the liver, but also the kidneys will produce that. Okay. So the liver, the kidney will produce that. And the liver and the kidney are going to produce that based on what?
the amount of oxygen.
Yes. Based on the oxygen levels. So if your oxygen level is low, and this is related to hypoxemia, remember? Okay. So if the oxygen levels in blood is low, your brain's going to send a signal to the liver and the kidneys to produce erythropoietin. Once erythropoietin is produced, it's going to stimulate the bone marrow to produce red blood cells. Okay. And then the red blood cells, once it's produced, it's going to live for how many days?
About
120.
120 days. Okay. Because it has no nucleus, it can't repair. So after 120 days, it's going to end up where?
in the spleen.
Yeah. The spleen is known as the graveyard of red blood cells, which makes sense because it has lots of reticular. It's got this mesh that collects the damaged red blood cells. And once the red blood cells is collected, it's going to be broken down into hemoglobin. Oops. Because there's, millions of hemoglobin in there. And the hemoglobin is going to be broken down further into two main parts. What are they?
Heme and iron.
Close.
Globin.
Globin.
Yeah,
Globin.
globin chains. Very good. The globin chains are the easiest one to handle because they're made up of what?
Amino acids.
That's right.
Maybe.
No, don't maybe. You're right. You're absolutely right. Have confidence in yourself. Okay? So, and the other one is the heme. Now, the heme groups look like this. Little pinwheels. 4 of them, as a matter of fact. 4 hemes to 1 hemoglobin. So technically it can bind to how many molecules of oxygen?
4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now the heme can be broken down into the pigments and the iron. Okay. Now, the reason why the heme groups can bind to oxygen is because of the iron. Okay. Think of it this way. Your car, if it's metal, if it's made up of like iron, okay, when it oxidizes, what happens to your car?
Rusty.
Dust.
Exactly. And that's because iron has a high affinity for oxygen. In other words, it binds to oxygen. And that's why with the iron, it's able to carry the oxygen. And that's the function of the heme group. Okay, it's to carry the oxygen. Okay, where globin chains carry what?
Protein.
No, they are proteins. They're made up of proteins. But what do they carry? What do they transport?
Oh, carbon dioxide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just a side note, the heme group, it carries mainly oxygen, but guess what? It has an even higher affinity for what? This is important for those of you who live in Minnesota.
Salt?
Monoxide. Nope,
Carbon
monoxide.
monoxide.
Yeah. So it has a higher affinity for monoxide. And because of that, if you are exposed to this gas, it's going to bind to that gas, which prevents it from binding to oxygen, and then you end up with carbon monoxide poisoning. If that helps you remember that the heme group has the iron that binds to oxygen and monoxide. Okay.
Oh, that's how that happens. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just takes the place of the car. Okay.
Yep. And you just slowly fall asleep and you just don't wake up. Yep.
That's bad.
It is. Okay. Now this pigment right here, what's the name of the pigment?
No, bile? Pigment?
Close. Not quite yet.
Bilirubin. Bilirubin.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. Why maybe?
Because I feel like I'm guessing. Bilirubin.
It eventually becomes bilirubin. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So it goes through the stages of changing until it becomes bilirubin in the liver. So the pigment is going to end up going into the liver. Now the liver can process the bilirubin into bile. However, if you deliver a premature baby, that liver will not have fully processed yet. So the bilirubin isn't able to be converted to bile. And because of that, the bilirubin is going to stay in the body, particularly the eyes and the skin, and lead to a condition called
Jaundice.
This.
yeah. Or as an adult, you can damage your liver, usually either a fatty liver or an alcoholic liver, and that can also lead to jaundice. Okay? All right. Now, the amino acid, your body can just reuse it. So the amino acid's fate, it's going to be reused. The iron, what happens to the iron? Oftentimes you can lose it.
Can it also go back into the bloodstream?
It can, yes, it can. So you can reuse it, but you can lose it. And if you lose it, it can lead to anemia, which particularly happens every month to
Women.
yeah.
Women.
Yep. And now you know why. Okay. So anemia either due to like blood loss, like trauma, or menstruation, which can be very traumatic.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right? And then the bile, Yep, the bio is just going to continue on. And then you learned about it, right, in the digestive system because the bio contributes to what's secreted when you eat fatty foods. And eventually it just, is what colors your fecal matter. It becomes feces, so it's eliminated. Okay? All right, so that's the life cycle of a red blood cell. Who knew it went to so many places, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right. So for plasma, you want to make sure you know the function of plasma, the components of plasma, as well as the plasma proteins. Okay? What are some functions of plasma?
Carry like nutrients and hormones.
Yep. It's
And
transports.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like your body's highway or trucks that carries the highway, that carries things. So it transports. And we can list tons of stuff, right? Because it's going to transport whatever blood is, right? The components of plasma are pretty much what you listed, right? But it's the majority of plasma is what?
The it's fluid, right? So, but there's albumin. Is that what?
We will get to the plasma protein, but the major component of plasma is, like you said, water.
Just water, water. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's the major component. And then you'd have everything else, the plasma proteins, the nutrients, the waste, and so on. But it's mostly plasma. I'm sorry, it's mostly water.
Mostly
Okay?
water. Okay.
Yep. Now, there's a long list of plasma proteins you can know, but I only require you to know 3. What are the 3 you need to know?
Fibrinogen.
Yep. Give me 1 second. Yep. Don't move on yet.
Oh, okay.
Fibrinogen. Now, whenever you hear the term ogen, it means inactive.
Oh.
Whenever you hear the term ogen, it means inactive. So fibrinogen, in its natural state, is inactive, which is lovely because I would not want blood clots unless I absolutely had to have it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so fibrinogen would be converted to fibrin if you have a cut along that blood vessel, and then there's a protein on the outside that activates fibrinogen to make it become fibrin. And my handwriting is so bad. There we go, fibrin. So fibrin, and it's actually fibrin that then leads to the blood clots. And that's because you don't want to bleed out. And that should make a little bit more sense because normally it's inactive. So if it is in the form of fibrin, that means you have a cut, you have trauma. Okay? And that's why you do want blood clots in that case.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be a beautiful example of what? What process? What feedback?
Positive.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm ready to go on to the second plasma protein now.
Albumin. Albumin. Oh,
Yep. Albumin, perfect. So my dad had to have dialysis all the time. So I went with him, so I learned a lot from the technicians and from the nurses and everyone there. But essentially, so with the dialysis, they have to take fluid out, right? Because the kidney's not working. So what can happen is that when someone goes through dialysis, too much fluid can be removed, and then they end up with not enough fluid in their body. So in that case, they would give him just an injection of albumin. And albumin, and the reason for that is because albumin helps to pull the water back in. So albumin is responsible for the viscosity or how thick the blood is. And osmolarity. In other words, the movement of water. So that just helps him, keep balance, pull the water back into the blood vessel. Okay? So that's albumin. Albumin functions in viscosity and osmolarity. What's the third one?
Globulin.
Yeah. Globulin, not to be confused with what we just talked about earlier, which is globin. Okay? Globin chains are part of hemoglobin, where globulin is a plasma protein that's also known as immunoglobulins. And another layman's term for immunoglobulins is antibodies. Okay?
Huh.
So globulins come in different forms. There's alpha, beta, and gamma. The alpha and beta ones function in transport, where the gamma ones, these are your actual antibodies. Gamma globulins are also known as immunoglobulins, and these are the ones that function as antibodies. Where alpha and beta globulins, just they help to transport.
Mhm. How do they
Okay?
do it? Are they like, do they, is it bacteria, viruses, or
The
how?
Not the alpha and the beta, just the gamma.
No, just
Yeah,
the gamma, but are they like, do they eat them?
they
No,
don't.
they're proteins,
Others
they can't.
around them.
So
Right. So
they
the
like
antibodies look like a
disarm them
Y.
somehow, maybe.
They can.
Mm,
Yep. So a function of an antibody can be to disarm things, but an antibody, some of them are
mhm,
just one like this. Some of them have
mhm,
5 like this.
mm.
And each one of these arms has the ability to bind to things that are not self.
Oh, okay,
Yep. Because all
got it.
cells have antigens on the surface. And it's really funny because the antigens sometimes look like the antibodies as well.
Mm,
Okay, so all
thank you.
cells have antigens. And then if this is a red blood cell and you are type AB, you would have A antigens and B antigens. Make sense?
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. If you are blood type O, you would not have those antigens. You'd have other antigens, but you wouldn't have A nor B. Okay. Now, if you have O type of blood, okay, that means you do not have the A or B antigens. So then you would make antibodies that would bind to A and B because you would recognize that as non-self. So if you were type O and someone were to give you an AB blood type, you'd be in trouble because your antibodies would go, oh, that's not me. Destroy, destroy. The antibodies don't destroy, but they bind to it. And when they bind to it, they can inactivate it like a virus because if they coat the virus, then the virus can't bind to your cells. So in that way, they can inactivate it. But mostly they bind to it so that your white blood cells, your other white blood cells, can come by and destroy them.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So make sure you know the white blood cells. And my favorite mnemonic is never let monkeys eat bananas. Neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils. And it is nice because it's in order of most abundant to least abundant. Okay. And a sample test question might be, which of the following reacts to bacterial infections?
Neutrophil.
Beautiful. You are on a roll, lady.
Mhm.
Okay. So you do need to know that. You need to know like which one reacts towards what thing. If I were to say this white blood cell produces antibodies, what would you say?
Lymphocyte.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so do make sure you know that. Okay, another mnemonic is Benji. Benji's nice because it tells you which of these white blood cells are granulated. Granulated means that they have granules inside of them. And those granules can be things like histamine, heparin, but they essentially help the white blood cell do what it's supposed to do. So it determines the function. So of the 5 white blood cells, there are 3 that are granulated. Basophils for B, eosinophils for E, and neutrophils for N. So if on a test I ask you, which of the following is agranulated? Anytime you see an A in front of something, it means without. Asepsis. Sepsis means contamination. Asepsis means without contamination. Granulated means has granules. Agranulated means without granules. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So to be able to describe the white blood cells and their functions. All right. The time just flew by. See, this is why I asked you what you want me to cover, because I can spend hours on just blood. Okay. Okay. So, but the good news is that this is when COVID hit, when I was teaching this class in person. So I recorded my lectures. So you can listen to those lectures whenever you get a chance. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So go to the announcements page. So these lectures are recorded, they're in there, and they pretty much do what we're doing right now. Okay. All right.
cool.
So for heart, okay, so I only have 15 minutes left. Do you want me to cover respiratory, digestive, or continue with heart?
I think
Heart.
heart.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
heart.
Okay. It's true though.
It's the f-
Cardiovascular tends to be really difficult. Okay. So for the heart, it's nice because if you study the heart structure, automatically the blood flow comes with it. Okay, so let's do this.
Mhm.
And if you can do this just from like your memory, you're set. Okay. Do you um what's the saying? Do you buy before you try, or do you try before you buy?
Try before you buy.
Try.
Yeah. So the tricuspid comes before the bicuspid.
Mm.
Okay. So let's start off with the chambers first. Oh, I forgot something. What did I forget?
Let's see. Last valve. Did you forget the pulmonary valve? Do I see it there? Oh no, there it is. Never mind.
It's ugly, but yeah, it's there.
Is it the Bayer vena cava?
You got it. Yep. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So when you do this, it's nice to divide them up into parts, right? So you've got the chambers first, and it's alphabetized. So 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Okay. So what are the top ones called?
Atrium.
Mm-hmm. Bottom?
Ventricles.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And remember that, when you're looking at this, your right is actually the,
Left.
No.
yep, and your left is actually the right. Okay, so don't forget anatomical position. So this is the right atrium. Oops, I was just going to number. So you can use, you should do something similar to this, so you can study it.
Mm.
So the right is number 1, A, and the left is 1B. So this will be 1A, and this is 1B. The right will be 2A, and the left will be 2B. So 2A and 2B. Okay, so you have the right ventricle here and the left ventricle here. And on top, you have the right atrium here, and you have the left atrium there. Okay, so those are the chambers. The atriums are responsible for receiving the blood or pumping the blood.
Receiving.
Mm-hmm. And the ventricles? Yep.
Any number between 1 and 10.
So because it's pumping the blood, it's got to be more muscular. And that's why you notice that this area right here is all muscle. So the ventricles tend to be a little bit smaller because it's got to make space for that muscle to pump the blood. Okay? All right. Next then, you've got the, let's do the valves. 2 types of valves. What are they?
The atrioventricular valves, the AV valves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the other kind?
Semilunar.
Perfect. I love that you use the semilunar because that is the type of valve they are. And it's called semilunar because it's half moons. And it actually looks like half moons. Or the AV valve connects the atrium to the ventricle. So they're flaps. And since they're flaps, if the pressure is too high, they can open up the other way. And that's why the AV valves are always associated with these strings that hold them in place so that they close, but don't open the other way. And if you have the strings, you have to have the muscles that hold them down. And thus the chordae tendineae, or the tendinous cords, and the papillary muscles are always associated with the AV valves. Okay? So with the AV valves, the one on the right-hand side, I'm going to call that 3A, And 3A is also known as what?
Tricuspid.
Yes, ma'am. Because you try before you buy.
Mhm.
And tri meaning the three of them, cuspid meaning these flaps. Okay, so this right here would be 3A. And then you also have a left one, 3B, and the left one, crazy, has two names. What are they? In addition to the left AV valve, what else are they called?
Bicuspid and mitral.
Yep.
Excuse me. Will we need to say right and left AV valve, or will we need to use the on? I'm sorry, on the lab. Or will
So
we use?
it depends. You can either write tricuspid valve or you can write right AV valve.
Okay.
But you should not write tricuspid AV valve. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Likewise, on the left, you can write down left AV valve or just bicuspid valve or just mitral valve. Don't do weird combinations.
Mm. But AV would kind of be maybe we
Abbreviation?
need to write arterioventricular. We have to spell that out.
You should double check me because I do make mistakes, but I believe in your lab PDF it does say AV, which means you can abbreviate.
Okay, shush.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yep. So if it's abbreviate in your lab PDF, then you can abbreviate it as well. Yep. Okay. All right. Now the semilunars. Let's do your right as 4A and your right one is actually called what? And it's the only name it goes by.
The pulmonary
Yes. And then the left,
aortic.
yep. So this will be 4, oh, it's getting kind of tight, A and 4B. Okay. All right. Then next we're going to do blood vessels. Actually, no, I'm going to do blood vessels over here. I need more space. Okay. So with blood vessels, you have this one. I'm going to name 5A and 5B. What's that called?
5A in superior vena cava.
So these are your vena cavas. And you can put an E at the end if you like. It depends. But if you're looking at one, it's vena cava. So let's keep it that way. And 5A would be your superior. 5B will be your inferior. Okay. Then from there, let's do 6. What's 6? It's going to where?
Not aorta.
Nope.
No. The pulmonary is going to the lungs.
Yes. Anything
Okay.
going to lungs is pulmonary. Now, if you look at this right here, it looks, let me draw it over here, okay? It looks like this. kind of looks like a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because this is the trunk of the tree, because it's going to split, it's the pulmonary trunk. Okay, so number 6 is the pulmonary trunk. And because it looks like the trunk of a tree. And then where it actually splits, you have 7A and 7B. What's 7A and 7B? Or what's 7?
Oh, right. Let's see. 7.
It's still going
Left.
to the lungs.
7A. Left pulmonary.
Yes,
Artery.
pulmonary artery. Now, we use the term artery because arteries always move away from the heart.
Mhm.
And so the right side one would be 7A, and the left-hand side one would be 7B. Okay. Now, this is why, true or false, arteries carry oxygenated blood. True or false?
False, but usually true.
Yes. Out of the 100% in your body, 99.9% of your blood, of your arteries are oxygenated, except for this one.
Yeah.
And
That
because of
totally
that,
confused me.
yeah, because of that, we cannot say that the definition of an artery is that it carries oxygenated blood, just because of this one. So we can say the only definition we can say about arteries is that it will always carry blood away from the heart. Okay?
So, Professor,
Yep.
the deoxygenated blood comes in to the vena cava from the upper and lower body, right? And
Yep.
then it's in the ventricle, and the ventricle squeezes it up through the pulmonary artery. It's, of
Mm-mm.
course, still no,
Nope.
it
You missed one.
doesn't.
No, you're right,
Mm,
but you missed one.
I
You went
did.
from 5 to 7. So what did you miss?
Oh, the 6. First, we have to go through the pulmonary trunk.
That's right. Now
Oh,
you
and
can
there's the
continue.
valve. Yeah, yeah. So the valve,
Yeah.
we go through. Okay. So then that is still deoxygenated, but then it goes out into the lungs where it gets the oxygen and then it
Yes.
comes back. Okay, I got it.
You got it. You absolutely got it. Okay? So it goes to the
Okay.
lungs, and then when it comes back, it's going to come back through these blood vessels. Let's number them. What are we? 7? Okay, so this will be 8A, 8B. So what's number 8 in general?
That's gonna be the right pulmonary vein
Yep.
and
So these are, yep, pulmonary veins, because they're bringing blood back to the heart. And the right-hand side one is 8A, and the left-hand side one is 8B. Okay? Now,
So
go ahead.
the pulmonary veins then are only time we're going to see veins that are red. Is
That's
that
right.
right? Okay.
That's
Got
right.
it.
Yep. That's why I tried specifically to use blue and red.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. So from here, so you got the pulmonary veins, and then we're going to do this one next. This is 9A, 9B, and 9C. What's 9 in general?
Aorta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the aorta has 9A, which is what? What
Mm.
segment?
Ooh.
It's moving up, so it's,
Ascending.
yes. 9B like McDonald's, the arch of McDonald's.
The arch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aortic
What would
arch.
aortic arch? Okay. Or the arc of aorta, whichever way. And then 9C, moving down.
Descending.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I forgot the three that come off the top there.
Okay. So then this one actually looks like this. Okay, so I'm going to put this as 10, 11, and 12. So let's do 10. What's 10?
Brachiocephalic, maybe?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Brachio meaning arm, cephalic meaning head, right?
Cephalic.
Yep,
Brachiocephalic.
because at this juncture right here, it's going to go towards the arm right here, and it's going to go to the head to this one right here. Are you able to see my pointer, by the way?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So because of that, it is the brachiocephalic. How would I end it?
Artery? No, maybe trunk because it
Trunk.
it splits.
That's right. My pen just died on me, so let me charge it again really quick. 7, 8, 9, 10. Hopefully that did it. Trunk. Because again, it's going to split. Okay. And that's going to be number 10. And just imagine if it does split, this would be 13 and 14 right here. And it makes sense, right? So 13 would be the right. Oh, I wasn't gonna, let me do that down here. Okay. So what's number 11? Number 11 is the mirror of number 14. It's going to go up. So if it's brachiocephalic, what would make sense for 11 to be? Would it make sense for 11 to supply blood to the left arm, to the right arm, to the left side of the head, or the right side of the head?
Left, maybe.
Yeah. Left what? Head or arm?
Head, I think.
Yes. So what would you call that?
Left.
Cephalic? No.
It's got to go through your neck first.
Oh, the carotid?
Yes. So number 11 would be your left
Left carotid.
Common.
Oh, left
Carotid artery. And you have to have all of that in that, if that's the image you have to identify. Okay, so that's number 11. So then your right common carotid artery would technically be what number?
12? No.
Nope.
11B?
Nope.
Oh, no.
14.
14, right.
Does it make sense though? It should make sense.
Yeah, you said
Okay.
it already. It was 14, but then I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
That's okay. What about number 12?
Do we? Okay, 12.
You actually don't have to know. That's why I put into parentheses, because you technically don't have, and abbreviate it. You don't have to know it, but it just makes sense to know it.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's number 12?
Left subclavian artery.
Yes, you're right. Left subclavian artery. Perfect. That's 12. So then it would make sense that your right subclavian artery would be number,
13.
yeah. And as you're going through that, as well as the other structures,
Mhm.
now it's like, oh, I can do blood flow, right?
Mhm.
So it starts off as deoxygenated blood comes in from the superior and inferior vena cava. So that should be your number 1. When it comes in, it's going to come into what chamber?
The atrium, the right atrium,
The right atrium. From the right atrium, it's going to pass through what valve?
the tricuspid valve,
Into
Right.
what chamber?
right ventricle,
Yep. From here, it's going to pass through what other valve?
the pulmonary valve,
Yep. And up what blood vessel?
the pulmonary trunk,
Yep. And it
pulmonary
splits.
artery.
Yep. Then to the lungs. Take a deep breath. You got some oxygen, some gas exchanging. From there, it's going to go back to the heart through what? Back to the heart through what blood vessel?
Through the pulmonary veins
Yep. Into what chamber?
into the
Left atrium.
Yes, ma'am. From the left atrium, it passes through what valve?
mitral valve,
Yep. Both of you are right. The bicuspid or the mitral. Enters into what chamber?
Left ventricle.
Passes through what passes through what valve?
the aortic valve,
And enters into what segment?
the ascending aorta.
Yep. And then moves along that. You got blood flow.